Welcome back to Unquiet You. Today we're going to talk about a topic that might sound a little in your face and a little confronting, but once we talk through it, you'll actually see that it's very freeing. I hear all the time women saying things like, I want to change, I want more, I want something bigger, I know I'm made for something bigger. And as they're telling me what they think they want that's bigger or that they want to change, I believe them and I absorb it and I'm taking it all in. But the difference is a lot of times people will tell me that they want change, but very few people are actually willing to choose it. And so today I want to talk about why when you want change and you're not changing, you're actually choosing it, and how it's a freeing thing to see that it's actually on us to change, but it's also on us to choose what we're not changing. So a lot of times people will come to me and they'll say things like, I want change, but this is happening in my life. And they want to believe it's someone else's responsibility or something out of their control. And so when I say to them, well, what do you want to change? They'll tell me this whole story about all the things that they want to change. And they'll say things like, well, I really wish that this was different, or I really wish I could do this, or I really wish, this would be different in my life. And so when I ask them, when they say they wish for something to be different, I'll ask them, well, what are they going to do to make it different? And most people will say that they can't, that it's out of their control, or they're not willing to do the things to actually make it different. And it's frustrating to me because it's giving someone else their power. It's giving someone else the responsibility. It's saying, I want to change, but I'm not willing to do the work to change it because it's uncomfortable a lot of times. And a lot of times it does cause you to have to change some of the things about your personality, change some of the things about what you're doing in your day-to-day world. And so when they create an action plan or we create something to help with that change, then they come back to me a week or two later and nothing's changed. My question to them is, well, what have you done? And they a lot of times will come back and say every excuse in the world, right? Like sick kid, I hurt myself running. My boss was out of town, so I couldn't talk to him. All the things. We all have all the things. And so I'll say to them, how much do you want this changed? Because what you're not changing, you're choosing. So every single day, I believe everything we do is a choice. And maybe sometimes that choice, that the things that we choose are to benefit our children or to benefit our family or someone we love or our job, our paycheck, all the things, but we're actually choosing that. And so if we want something to change in our life, we have to choose it. And if we don't choose it, then we have to accept that we're choosing the opposite. So if you want change in your life, it's, we can easily use the example of working out or losing weight. If you want to lose weight and you want to get healthy, and say someone gives you a nutrition plan or tells you a workout plan, or you just need to move your body to make change, and you don't do it, then what I'm saying to you is, why are you complaining? Because you're choosing not to do it. You're choosing to stay overweight or unhealthy. You're choosing to not go after the promotion. You're choosing to not show up for the people that matter. You're choosing not to show up for yourself when it matters. Like, you're making this choice every single day. So if you want change, you have to be willing to do the work and to choose it every single day. And this is something where I've had some clients really struggle in the beginning, because you have to choose discomfort. If we're going to choose change in any arena, it's not comfortable. And if I'm going to hire a coach or a personal trainer to train me, and they're going to give me some workouts and some food choices that I don't love, it's not going to be comfortable, right? I don't find comfort in eating super, super healthy foods and watching people eat like my favorite desserts, right? It's very uncomfortable for me to not feed into that or want to eat that. But I also know if I choose to eat something bad, then I'm choosing that delay in my change, right? Like I'm choosing that. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes I'll say it's worth choosing the chocolate cake over not doing it today. But also I know it's going to hinder my change. So if I truly want to change how I look or how I feel or how much I can lift or all these things, I have to be uncomfortable and accept the discomfort. Most people aren't willing to do that. And so I think part of it too is we have to learn to let go of the old identity, because so often this is where I see people get caught up when they want change. The things that they want and desire actually require a whole new version of themselves. That doesn't mean totally wiping away who they are, but it means that they're going to have to do and think and believe things about themselves that they've never done before. And they're going to have to, I would say a lot of us, especially the younger generation, are not used to living in discomfort. They're just not. You don't see it as much anymore when people come from nothing or they don't really have anything. They've had to build things themselves. The reason is because they got real comfortable with the discomfort. They got really comfortable with understanding that if they struggled getting food on the table as a kid and they wanted a different life, they were having to do really uncomfortable things to get it. They were having to go outside of what they grew up with, right? Sometimes it's breaking family cycles. Sometimes it's saying yes to things that everyone else around you would say no to. Sometimes it's saying no to things that everyone around you would say yes to. But you have to be willing to change the identity that you've known and become so consumed with. And so much we're told who we are and what to think. And our environment teaches us that as we get older, as we grow up. But sometimes when we come out of it and you realize that you want something different, or there's something deep down in you that sees it differently, or you can be different, you have to be willing to change that identity. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and be willing to do things that the people around you aren't going to do to change. And so I think it's interesting when people come to me and they tell me that they want change, and we make a plan or we talk about their change and how it will impact them if they do change, or when they do change. How is this going to impact your life? What are you going to do differently? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And they'll usually come back and do nothing in the beginning. And it's really, really digging in on, they keep missing the identity part. They keep hoping that if they maybe make one or two changes as the same person that they are, thinking the same thoughts and doing the same things every day that they've become accustomed to, because now it's part of their identity, that they're going to get different results. And it's kind of like being on a hamster wheel. It's the definition of insanity. It's doing the same things, but expecting something different. And so we can't expect this new life if we're doing the same things over and over and over every single day. So once we can getting out of their old mindset, getting out of that old identity and accepting, in order to be this next version of ourselves or to go after this next thing, we have to choose differently. We have to decide that every single day we're making choices. And if we want change, we have to choose it. And also understanding the fact that if you don't choose change, you're choosing to stay in the old life that you're living in now, because it's what you're choosing every single day by normally not taking action. It's keeping us in the same cycles. So it's fine to do that if that's what you want, but you can't say that you want to change and you want change in your life if you're not willing to choose it and go after the discomfort and go after the shifting of our identity and the shifting of our patterns, the shifting of what we do every day, how we talk, who we talk to, the shifting of standing up for ourselves more. Maybe it's learning that you have to address your boss in a certain way. I had a client who on paper had everything to get promoted for this job. And when she, was just so dead set, she had all the things behind the scenes, but she would not approach her boss and explain to him how she felt like she was in a position to go after this higher up position. And she never would. And so by the time she came to me, she was devastated because someone else took the position, but they had approached the person in charge and said, hey, I'd like to apply for this higher position, all the things. She was wanting the change so badly. Like, she could even envision the money and the hours and the new creative projects she would get to do, all the things. But she wasn't willing to get out of her comfort zone and go approach her boss. She wasn't willing to talk to people and say, hey, I want this job. I want to be one of the people that you interview for this job. She didn't do that. She wanted the change to happen, but she didn't change anything in her cycle of her day-to-day activities. She stayed in her office. She did her job great, but she never spoke to the right people, and they didn't even know she wanted the job. And so she came to me with a lot of resentment and wanting to quit her job and all the things. And the more we talked and the more work we did and her mindset shifting, she realized that it was her responsibility to choose differently. It was her responsibility to explain that she wanted this job or to go after this job. It was her responsibility to choose it, to choose that she wanted more in her life and not just hope that it changed on its own, because that hamster wheel, we don't get off of it. We think we will when the right thing happens or when someone comes. It's not. We're choosing every single day to stay on the same hamster wheel, and we're expecting something different, but it's never going to happen. So I think if you're listening to this and that you realize that you want change, I would ask yourself, what are you choosing every day? Are you choosing to stay in the same patterns? Are you choosing to show up the same way and expecting different results? Or are you choosing the change? And if you're choosing the change, then really get to work on where your mindset is. What are the thoughts that no longer serve you in order to be this next version? If you want something that's going to take maybe a version of you that speaks up more, maybe a version of you that shows up on social media. Maybe it's a version of you that gets really uncomfortable and goes to a workout class, or maybe you enroll in a new class to learn something new. Maybe you've always wanted to be a real estate agent, but you know it's going to take you getting uncomfortable and going to a class and talking to real estate agents or doing all the things. I would ask yourself, where are you with that? And how willing are you to get uncomfortable? Because any sort of change in our life is uncomfortable. Even if it's the greatest change in the world, it is uncomfortable. I've never talked to someone who, went from dating someone to being married. And that first year of marriage, there's uncomfortable moments in that marriage. And I don't care how great you are, how great your spouse is. It's going to be uncomfortable learning someone's patterns, learning what they like, what they don't like, how you're going to adjust your schedules. There's big decisions that you've never had to make together. Now you're making them. It's uncomfortable, but it's worth it and it's great. It's just, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. So this is pretty much every client I've ever had in one-on-one coaching. This is what we start with. They come to me because they want change. There's something inside of them. And it doesn't mean that they want their entire life changed or they want to completely get rid of what they know. They just know deep down there's something more. And so a lot of the work we do in the beginning is just the mindset. It's like shifting. It's learning how to handle emotions. It's learning how to take action through emotions. It's learning how to show up for yourself every single day. So if this is something that you've been waiting to do or you're wanting to do and you want something different, then one-on-one coaching would be really great for you. So hopefully you can make a choice today to choose what you want in your life and take action from that. So thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, for being a little louder, a little bolder, and a whole lot more you. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you subscribed, left a review, and sent it to someone you think might need it. As always, stay unquiet.